Good afternoon. Happy New Year to everybody. Good to see everybody made it in today. I was questioning whether there'd be some attendance checks or not, but you guys proved me wrong. So good to see everybody, and we're well into our preparation to get ready for a big football game. So our guys are looking forward to it.
Kevin, just with Brian Flores, what he's been able to do this year, I guess, how has the defense grown? Because you had to adjust with a lot of new players and things like that.
Yeah.
As the season has gone along with it.
I think the coolest part has been the subtle nuances and kind of evolution week to week. One of the things him and I talked about, even going back to when we first got together to talk about him coming here, was an identity of a team that can kind of morph into what we think week in and week out that can win football games, playing complementary, what it's going to take to win versus, the types of teams in all three phases that you play. And we've tried to have a mentality like that on offense where we do those things, but we never veer too far off the path of our identity of who we are. And I think he's the same way. And as a group of guys that to do it in a short amount of time with some new faces that he's done, I think that's coaching. I think that's teaching, and then empowering those guys to have ownership of the plan. They've got ownership on the field to make adjustments, and it's been really cool to watch.
Kevin, where's Taki Taimani in his recovery?
Yeah, he's getting close. That's definitely a guy that we're monitoring closely about potentially finding a window here, and with us playing beyond Sunday in some capacity, it's definitely something we're talking about.
Kevin, speaking about the defense, is there anything with all the new guys that have come in and played so well this year, is there anything that surprised you? Is there any part, whether it's been the way the scheme has worked, whether it's been the way some of the newer guys have worked in concert, that over the years is kind of maybe even exceeded your expectations?
I think the one area that I keep circling back to with that group is turnovers. It's one thing to play good defense, which they have. It's one thing to stop the run, which they have. And yardage anymore in the NFL is such a unique statistic because every game is different. Sometimes yardage in certain situations of games really doesn't matter. It's making them snap it one more time and keeping them out. But when you are able to take the football away in every single game, that's providing that's not even including the fourth down stops, which I think their numbers have been really good in that department as well. Those are momentum plays for your entire team, not just getting off the field on a third down and then a punting play flips the whole field position. It's field position plays, it's momentum plays, it's stopping momentum of another team and giving yourself a chance to win. Kind of like what IP did when Josh Metellus punched it out against these guys the first time around. That would probably be, I don't even know if it would be surprising to me because I just know the emphasis that's put on it every single day, year-round in this building. But that's definitely one thing that I think has manifested itself in a way to really help us become the team that we've become.
Tom Brady, just follow up quickly. He mentioned in the broadcast of the game against Green Bay that he felt like if you stopped him on fourth down, he looks at it as akin to a turnover.
Yeah.
Do you view it the
same? Yeah, I do, just because in many times those are such critical field position plays anyway, and especially with where our game's gone. I mean, there's people, the analytics of decision making and knowing that nowadays I think part of it is, very rarely as a team that we're playing either, across the 50 or even sometimes before that, where I don't hear Mike Pettin or Brian Flores or, any of our, even, the guys reminding Flo on third down, hey, it's 2nd and 8, tackle him for a gain of 3, it's 3rd and 5. The first thing I normally hear is, hey, Flo, it's 4-down territory here. Whereas maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was more of a kind of a surprising decision. It's almost one of those now where you're surprised when people don't go for it, and there's a lot of circumstances with each team, each team's belief and philosophy on, fourth down or points or field position. A lot of those things still exist. They still have a huge impact on winning football games. Excuse me, but when I look at it, it's definitely something that for sure is a turnover, and it's not just the ones at the goal line where it's 4th and 1 at the 1. It's the ones where you stop a team. Chicago went for it early, and I thought that was a huge momentum play against us on Monday night. You can think back to a lot of those this year, though, for sure.
What were your takeaways from the Lions game on Monday night?
Yeah, I thought it was an incredibly physical game. To both teams' philosophical beliefs of how they want to play it was physical, and I thought looking at it in the second half, it was a classic game where the Lions are playing really well, and then a couple turnovers happen, and they're able to distance themselves, and that formula's played over a lot. And I think the turnover margin is going to be a huge number. It always is, but you go on the road to an environment like this, and you give them the momentum of the football. Unexpectedly, that could be a huge momentum turning play, and vice versa. It works both ways for you when you can force them. So I think that was the one thing I took out of it, is just kind of a back and forth kind of game, but one play here or there, and good football teams capitalize on it and win.
Kevin, TJ did not play in the first game between
Yeah.
you guys. Do you see this one as significant for him at all?
I don't want to speak for him. That would be a question for TJ, but I just think it's significant to our team for a lot of reasons. Obviously, he has a lot of former teammates still on that team, and I'm sure it'll be impactful for him going back there. He's fond of his time there, I know, and but to me, with where the mindset is of our team and kind of what we are putting into this week, I think TJ is going to be ready to roll regardless for all the reasons that do exist for everything going into this game.
How does having him back just change the way a team like Detroit might attack you compared to the way they did it the first time when you don't have him on the field?
Yeah, I think there's some examples where there could be some matchups and some things within the way they defended us the first time. But like I told our team today, both teams are very different, and that's what happens regardless of wins, losses, injuries. The journey of a season, you're a new team almost every week, it feels like, in some capacity. And you just get to week 18, game 17. Both teams kind of know who they are. Both teams kind of know how they want to play. And then it comes down to all these really little details. And how disciplined either team is going to be will probably determine, what happens on Sunday night. And the benefit of them being at home is obviously an advantage. But, our team's been, really it's just been us in many ways since the beginning of this thing. So I don't think we'll feel uncomfortable, albeit in a probably a great home environment for them, atmosphere, expecting a lot of noise. But we've been kind of operating as a team and coaching staff all season long. Not going to be much different for us.
When you say that you're both different teams, how is Sam Darnold specifically different this time around?
Yeah, just experience. Both the experience of the success he had leading into that game itself, and then as we've moved forward through the season, there were some moments through the year where I thought there was some real growth from him, post Jacksonville, and what he's really done since then, and how he's really truly captured what not only he's being coached to do from Josh and Grant, but also just ascending in his comfort in the plans every week, his routine of digesting the plans. Then he's going to get some reps at some of those plays today and tomorrow and Friday, and then the routine of him and I, going into the game in total alignment with how we see the game going. And I think you can tell a guy what it's going to be like, and you can tell a guy a lot of things, but only the player is responsible for getting to himself where Sam has gotten himself to, which is the team has a lot of confidence in him, and probably a good question for Sam, but I would imagine he's got a lot of confidence in himself.
Kevin, you mentioned a few weeks ago when you stood up there, you say you probably know where Sam's at in the building based on his routine. Is
Yeah.
he really that regimented with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think back, I got to be careful sometimes. I'll go down on a Monday or Tuesday and, he's either getting a massage, with his shirt off, or he's going in the sauna, or he's doing a stretch routine, or he's coming out of the weight room. And, I normally, I don't go down there often, as you can see, but he's very much present in this building a lot, and that routine does not change, and how he goes about the week, and when him and I connect on a Friday about his favorites and plays he doesn't like, and then we have the big meeting on Saturday where we kind of make sure everybody's in alignment with what him and I have gotten to as far as our place in the game plan. So, it's you hear quarterbacks, especially some of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, have talked about their routine and down to the minute throughout a game prep week. And Sam's been no different. I mean, he's been phenomenal with that, and that comes with time. Also, comes with being in. Looking back on previous experiences and saying, man, would I have made that throw or that play if I focused on this at this point in the week, or my body didn't feel great, so maybe I got to make sure I'm doing the things from a sports science and rehab standpoint, prehab, whatever it is. So I think it's real. It might be, an exaggeration. I think I know exactly where he is right now, but we'd have to all go check and make sure.
How rare is his ability to tune out bad things? Well, like he throws the pick against the Packers. I think the next drive could be the scoring drive.
Yeah.
5 for 5. Like, how valuable and how rare is that for an athlete to be able to bury something bad that quickly?
I don't know, from a standpoint of rare, I think the quarterback position, you find that the guys that play the position the best, most consistently, are the guys that can respond in a way where not only are they going to make it about the details of their job and identifying what might have caused a turnover or maybe a missed opportunity, and then they respond and just go right back to the boring details of doing their job on the next play, the next sequence. And he's done it. I mean, you can really go game by game and see whether they're massive examples, or maybe you'd have to go find, examples that might not be as drastic as a turnover, but he's responded all year long in a way where, I don't even think twice about the play I'm going to call after a turnover. There's no hey, let's make sure he's all right. There's none of that, and I think our offense probably feels that with some of the plays that I do call in those moments, and we're going to stay aggressive as a team, but we can do that because of Sam.
What's the key to with all the obvious outside talk about Sam, and he's played so well, and this team clearly at one time had I think a very clear view of where the QB position was going. Kevin, what's the internal thing there? Just as do you guys talk about how this is going to play out, and if you don't, how do you sort of put that aside right now and not say, is Sam going to stay? Is Sam going to go and JJ comes in? How does that work for you guys internally?
Yeah, I think it's very important. There's really two sides of it. One being how I've coached this team from day one from a player standpoint. I'm always highlighting the plays that a lot of our players do well, so that their teammates can really wrap their mind around, what we really have on our team. And he made some throws against Green Bay that I showed today, and it was like a quarterback clinic in there with me teaching the whole room about why it was spectacular and a really, really well done and efficient. Couldn't coach it any better type of thing. So I'm always trying to make sure guys understand, what all of our guys are doing at different positions, Justin or Jonathan Grenard or Van Gink or, Harry on the back end, whatever it is. But as far as the other side of it, it would go totally against how I've coached the team to be, spending any time for me right now focusing on the answers to those questions, because I know that the things that mean a lot to me are getting Sam ready to play, getting our team ready to play each and every week, whatever it's going to take to win a game. As far as the quarterback room, since the addition of Daniel with Brett and Nick, we're coaching those guys up. And then you've got JJ, who's doing a great job, and has really, put a stamp on where he's at in his rehab process, and now is so visible and a part of the meeting process and digesting game plan. So we've got really 5 guys right now in our building that are constantly improving and getting better and just being comfortable and more comfortable as quarterbacks for the Minnesota Vikings. And I wish that number could be more than that. I love having those guys around, as you know. And no, Josh McCown does not count. So, and sure as heck I don't either.
Let's go.
Kevin, how have you seen Sam develop in terms of his command of setting protections and working with Garrett?
Yeah, I think there were some good examples of that even the other night. Just a call that maybe we had worked all week long and the look was presented itself and he made the call and got it blocked up. There was some other examples of some in-game. There's always going to be in-game. And Jeff Hafley is a really good defensive coordinator. We're going to play against another one this week, and they always have something for you. So you can try to prepare all you want, but to me it's the foundation of learning and the foundation of all the things we've done to be able to say in that moment, looking at just a still shot on the Surface tablet, hey, we got to do this and fix a problem and not wait till Monday morning to do it. I think it's something we kind of pride ourselves on around here as coaches and players to be able to do that. But he's been, I think it goes kind of right along with a couple of the other questions, just time, experience, ownership, all those things have been what he's really demonstrated for sure, over this critical stretch down the stretch here.
You mentioned having the 5 quarterbacks here, and obviously there's special circumstances with those, but do you think that's like a sustainable thing to do over time to, obviously you have the quarterbacks that you're getting ready for the game, but then there's another sort of batch and development or whatever you want to call it.
I honestly, Kevin, I think it's not just, it's a position I think we focus and feature on and a lot on, rightly so, but that's going on all over our building from a standpoint of, what's Dwight McLaughlin doing from a standpoint of his post-practice work, Levi Drake, the list goes on and on. We've got veterans on the practice squad that have played a ton of football, like a Bobby McCain in this league, that still have an individualized plan. And, Coach Grant used to give me a really hard time about having so many coaches. And I would always tell him it's about, ownership and player development. And, and I'd try to show him examples, but he would still tell me, you got way too many coaches. I remember that very vividly. But yeah, it's a big part of my coaching philosophy is not only are the players developing and feeling like they've got a set of eyes on them, at all times for the betterment of their improvement, but coaches are developing. I mean, to have the leadership we have on our coaching staff is great, but I feel like we've got an unbelievable set of, assistant position coaches, quality control coaches that are all going to continue ascending in this league, and rightly so because of the hands-on coaching that everybody gets to do.
When you're showing the team that those highlights and sort of pointing out what everyone does well and that, how much of that has been a part of your coaching philosophy for that positive reinforcement, and how much is that just personality, who you are?
Well, they're not all positive. There are some clips that we do have to show for the betterment of improvement, and maybe it's situationally. A lot of times it's just me pointing out the things that I made mistakes on, just so they know that, this is not me standing up here at a very similar podium to this, but it's not me standing up there waving my finger telling everybody who did what well and most of the time I like to make sure that they hear me say, I totally screwed this up and you guys bailed me out, or the next time we get this situation, here's what you can expect, or maybe it is a situation from around the league. A guy fumbling right before the ball goes out of bounds, and making sure that everybody in the room knows that clock is going to wind on the ready for play, that it's not staying stuck. Like, there's countless thousands of things that I'm talking to the guys about over the course of the season that I think are really important. But it is part of my philosophy to make sure if a guy does something that's really positive, you guys have seen it and more than likely made a point to compliment them on them, either on TV or in print, whatever it is. I sure as heck better be doing it as the head coach that's challenging them. It's not only just, in my opinion, it's confirmation of not only just good things, it's confirmation of intent, clear intent, ownership from the player, and then execution in the moment that I think is really important. So I try to make sure I highlight it for sure. Thanks, guys.